Well, that was weird. My camera went off. I don't know why. I must have touched something. But anyways, it was dripping right here, and it was coming down. And all I could figure was this piece here was maybe slightly uphill, ever so slightly. So I loosened this and kind of slid this down just barely to caulk that down just a hair. Tighten it back up. No leaks. I tightened that as tight as I could with my fingers and my thumb on these thumb turns, and then I took my channel locks. Like I say, I took my channel locks and just turned it, just a 1/16 of a turn, and that's it. And everything's fine. And I had Teflon tape on those threads too, remember? But if these angles get off ever so little, sometimes it's a matter of just repositioning things down there and retightening things up. Okay? So whenever you do a project, before you walk away from it, do the water test. Don't tell somebody, oh yeah, it's all done, and have them fill the cabinet back up with all their stuff, and 2 weeks later have them call you, hey Joe, the cabinet is fully saturated and all my stuff is all wet down there, all my little cardboard boxes and everything else, and you come down here and you find out it was one little dinky drip that's been dripping constantly every time you run the sink, just for a second or two, every time they do it for 2 weeks. And it's like, no wonder there was so much water, all from just one little dinky drip. Okay, and so you don't want to do that. We've got the garbage disposal on there. That runs pretty quiet, and it's because of that insulated pack right there. And remember when I installed the garbage disposal, I said, before I hook this up, or until I hook this up, I'm not going to tighten this all the way down, so I can swivel this wherever. And once I connected this all up there, I made sure to whack this with the hammer. See, it's all tight. It's all tight now over to here. Before, I had that slid over to about there. Okay, so I tap with my hammer. Carefully made sure this was still in line, because you can still twist this back and forth even though that's tight. Okay, to make sure this is lined up, and everything's fine now. Okay, no leaks. When you have the cardboard down, or you have some toilet paper or napkin down or something, that's not gonna lie if it's not dripping, right? And lucky for me, when I turned the water lines on, those weren't dripping. And I didn't think they would drip, because those were new water supply gate valves on there, and those new pipes go up to the sink faucet, and everything's fine. The only other thing I'm thinking about doing, look how when they install it, see that thing right there? That's a clean out. Like, in case you have in your line, let's say, if it ever plugs up, instead of a plumber coming, taking their trap apart, running the snake down through here, they can take that off. That's got it on threads, and then they can run it right down there. They don't have to disconnect anything, and then they might be able to get a bigger snake down in there. There's a Y in there that loops down, and it's attached to this, and it goes on down further. See, that's a 2-inch, and that's an 1.5 inches. So they could put maybe a little bit bigger cutters in there or something and force it on down there. But see, when they did the cabinet, they didn't cut that very well, did they? And that's going right back into the wall. So I'm gonna go back to the store. I forgot to get some sort of cap that may cover that. I got some caps from before, and they were about 1.5 inch caps. See, like this, and this one is a split ring, but it's for 1.5 inches. See, it's for 1.5 inches. This one was another little one that you could slip over a pipe and put that on. I could have gotten something like that before I glued that on. I could have put something like that on there, but they had drilled that hole nice and clean, didn't they? Okay. Worst thing, all I would have to do, if I wanted, I could take some white caulking maybe or tan caulking and caulk that little gap all the way around. Okay, but first and foremost, you see how big that is? So I can go back to the store and maybe get a split ring for like a 2-inch pipe. I'll have to measure it or so. See this one here? This is 1.5 inches, but it's not big enough. That piece, I've got to go with the overall measurement, and I was thinking about doing something different actually. How big is that? Let's see. Let's see how wide that is. It's about 2 3/4 in diameter. And I've got something else. I got some sheet metal. I could take a piece of sheet metal and gouge out in the middle of it and cut a circle out, and then put that up there and screw it with 4 screws. Boom, 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 boom. And then just put caulking underneath that and splodge it right on there. And that wouldn't cost me anything. I go to the store. They may not have anything exactly this size. Was it 2 3/4? 2 3/4, maybe 2 7/8. And I could put it on there and then caulk around that, let's say. But I don't know if they have anything like that. And if they do, it could cost $8 or $9. These other caps were $4 or $5 for 1.5 inches, see? And so that's one last thing I'm going to want to do. If that was smaller, like if it was only that big of a gap all the way around, I could have caulked that, you know? But there's no way I'm going to caulk this on that side over there or anything. There's no backing back there. I can't even put some foam wrap of any sort and shove it in the wall or anything. Okay, so that's one more thing I'm going to want to do before I call it good. And now I'm ready to put the cabinet doors back. But before I do that, another reason why I had these drawers left out is because I cleaned after they glued this countertop down. They left a little bit of their caulking sticking out of here, and I was going to have them do a nice thin bead along there. I'm glad they didn't, because the guy wasn't very clean. He was kind of sloppy. And I'm going to put some white caulking up there, kind of like, see, I've already done it over on this side. Before I put this top drawer in, you see that? The white caulking up in there, just to finish it off, see? And I'm going to do that on this side. I've got this all cleaned. He had stuff goobered out on there, and I had to clean it off. I had to clean everything off under here. So I'm going to put a nice tight white bead of caulking along here. My silicone caulking, my plumbers. What was it? The kitchen and bath white silicone type caulking. Okay, and then I'm going to go up underneath here, along the joint here, along here. See, he put stuff, I had to clean it all off, and the stuff he did, when it dries clear. So I didn't want that anyway. So, you know, you want something done right, you got to do it yourself sometimes. And I cleaned off this. Luckily for me, I ran that masking tape along there, remember? So he didn't goober these up as much, but I still had to check them out. And so I'm gonna clean that. He left a big old piece of silicone sticking down here. Fortunately, I found that, was able to clean it off. And see, his type of silicone is 100% silicone. Once you put it on, you can't paint over it. See, like up in here, you can see how it's shiny from here down to about there. I don't know if you can see that in the light or not. From here up, and he was even taking some acetone or something on a rag, wiping off. So I thought he was doing a good job, but actually he didn't really do a good job. Because if I wanted to paint this later, let's say a different color, your paint's not going to stick to that silicone. It's clear, 100% silicone. It's just not going to do it. So if I ever wanted to paint this a different color, or if you ever come across that and you're thinking, how am I going to cover that? Well, you can take some regular painter's caulking and put over the top of that with your finger, and just use your finger and kind of paint it on, you know, and let it dry. Then you can paint over that. Okay, he got he got a little bit all in here, so I had to clean all that and scrape that all off. I can still feel there's some right in here, but I can't get it any better. So before I do touch-up paint here, I'm going to take some white painter's caulking and just kind of put it over here and kind of blend it in with my finger to cover up that other silicone that's still on the wall. I can feel it. Dabbity nabbit. That's okay. Another something I can do. And then before I touch up the paint, I'll do that with the caulking, let the caulking dry, and then 2 coats of touch-up paint along here. There's no way, had I just left that I could paint that. It would just have beaded up over the top of that clear silicone. Okay, so another something I gotta do, and that's something I need to do before I put those 2 drawers back in. I can put these cabinet doors on now, you know, but see these fake drawer panels, see how they kind of fit on this, and there's another little plastic goodie on the back side of the other, and then you just kind of fit it in there and clunk. And because it's 15 years old, I got to be careful with them. So on this, I'm going to take it and slide those 2 in, so I don't have to use those 2 to go out, and then just gently push on this. I might spray some silicone spray on here and on the back side of the other, so it's easier to slide on there, and then just clunk, push that one in. Do the same thing with this. You know, start this side first or that side first. Don't just put the whole thing in straight and try to pop it on there, because you could have a tendency to want to break the little tab on the back side. See here, look, no drips of water. And let me show you on the back side of those fake cabinet fronts. See there? That's what it looks like that. See? And then it's even got another one right here even. So, and I marked them right and left. I don't think I really had to mark them. I think they're only going to go on one way because they're not. At first I thought maybe this was going to be centered. But since they're on one end, see, this one's only going to go one way, up or down. But at least I'll know which one was to the right, which one's to the left, and then I look on the finished edge, which one's the cleanest, you know, and that'll tell me if that one is truthfully for the right and that's the left, or vice versa, whatever. Okay, so just a few things that I still need to do to call this area good. Well, hey, isn't that nice? Got that garbage disposal completed, the sink drain completed, the P-trap completed, the sink strainer basket completed, the faucet completed, the hand soap dispenser completed. All this done. Plumber, he would have charged me over $700 labor just to do what you've seen me do here in the last 4 or 5 episodes, or however many episodes this is, you know. Save that money. Do it yourself, would you? And I showed you, hey, if I can do it, an average Joe, yes, you can do it too. Oh, that's funny. Look at all the extra parts I got. I got all kinds of parts there, parts over here, parts here. I never would have dreamt that I would have to go back to the store a second time to get that other fitting. I never knew I was going to need that, and like I said, most times you don't. Okay, watch these videos from start to finish on different projects that I do in the condo, and you'll soon realize that, hey, there's a lot of things here that I can do myself. Or you may realize, oh, yeah, I'm glad VideoJoe showed me this, that, and the other thing, because I don't really want to do those things. I'll get somebody else, a handyman, to do those, because I don't think I can do it, or I don't feel comfortable doing those particular things. But the other things he was showing, yeah, I can do that, and I'm glad he showed me about a ceiling fan and how this works and how he hooked that up to a handheld ceiling fan remote control and all that kind of stuff, and all the other things, okay? I'm trying to do this for your benefit, for you to save money on your upcoming projects.